Welcome back to the lab, guys. Today, I'm going to be going over virtualization, how it started, where we're at now, and what can it do for you. So stick around. What is virtualization? Now, you may be wondering, why am I doing a video over this? I already know what it is. Well, there's a lot of people who don't. So I wanted to go over it. Virtualization is the form of actually taking a system and virtualizing it, or what I would call simulating it. Now, I'm pretty sure plenty of you guys have heard of flight simulators, jet simulators, things like that allow you to fly aircraft. The same is true with virtualization. What it does is it simulates the computer on a host system. This right here in front of me, I've got two servers, different types. These are actually considered host systems. A host system is normally a system that has an abundant amount of resources, both CPU, RAM, and storage, and allows you to actually put software, such as virtualization, in a hypervisor, known as Xen, ESXi, Windows Hyper-V, Proxmox. There's a handful of them that can actually be installed on here and be ran as what they call a host system. It can then what they call guest systems. Guest systems are virtualized or simulated computers on this system. Now, a single system can run a plethora of servers on it, and that can allow you to run, a wide range of different applications. You're talking about from domain controllers, Active Directory, web servers, SQL servers, virtual desktop infrastructure. The list goes on what you're capable of running on a host. So to bring it back around, virtualization is the simulation of computers on a host system using a piece of software called a hypervisor. Hypervisors have been around for a long time. Hypervisors started way back. Well, they weren't really known as hypervisors. It was known as virtualization, which has kind of actually become a broadened term. But virtualization goes all the way back to the 1960s with IBM. IBM created a system called CP40, which was virtual machine / virtual memory time sharing protocol. And it actually allowed multiple machines to share memory and share resources on a mainframe computer. Those giant takes up the whole entire room computers. Yeah, those. They could actually break down mainframes in what they would call virtualization and allow applications to run on segments of the mainframe without having them to run through the whole entire mainframe. That's what they call paravirtualization. Now, what we more so do nowadays is called full virtualization, and that's what I was talking about at the beginning of this video. Full virtualization is where you actually go ahead and simulate everything, from the BIOS to the hardware to the firmware to the software. It is all emulated through a hypervisor, such as I was saying earlier, ESXi, Xen, Proxmox, Hyper-V. Those hypervisors simulate the processes that machines are running. A single host, as I was saying earlier, can run several, if not 20, 30 VMs on it, or guest operating systems. Now, pushing forward, not much happened from about 1960 to 1985. In 1985, we had a little bit go on where IBM actually released some new parts. And same with Intel now getting in. Intel and AT&T, they started making a partnership in which they developed a Unix-based system that allowed them to boot Windows DOS and other applications. Now, it was marketed as a Windows DOS application virtualization environment, but in actuality, it was a full virtualization. It was one of the first, and it was actually capable of running full-on virtualization inside of its own operating system, on the Unix operating system, running the 8086 Intel processor and its code. So to give you an idea, after 1985, that's when a lot of things started kind of snowballing. I mean, it took almost 25 years to get to that point where virtualization, everybody was like, you know what, a little light clicked on, everybody's like, wow, this could be used for something. So time goes on, 91 comes by, all right, and in 91, we get the internet, we get a lot of things, people start sharing ideas, things go around, and we get bigger competitors involved, more people get involved with virtualization. It starts growing. All right, now by 97, we've got Macintosh in the game. Macintosh is releasing a virtual PC application to actually run virtual operating systems and virtual applications on your system that aren't native to Mac. In 98, after that, we had VMware applying in October 26th of 98. They applied for a patent that actually led up to now where they are, how they've kind of become the superpower of hypervisors. After that, in '99, they released another x86 architecture for servers, VMware did, that then gave them another foothold. In 2001, IBM had to follow up with that and say, you know what, you guys aren't the only ones that could create for the x86, we've got it too. And that's where IBM came in and they created their own x86 hypervisor called Z Virtualization, and that allowed them to run the same exact virtualization technologies that VMware did. They could run the same operating systems exactly the same way, but they both handled it each their own way. After that, we started getting more into the 2000s and more in the modern times of what's going on. But it wasn't actually until 2001 that VMware made another leap. VMware actually started releasing their first server virtualization packs in '01. And that's where we're starting to lead into where we now see. ESXi didn't start until early 2000s into where we are now. ESXi is built up over time and to become the robust hypervisor that we've seen. But before that, it was nothing. VMware actually held a lot of different crowdsourcing. They had a lot of people come in and build applications and appliances, and they voted on them, and they released the winners of those. I want to say that was 2008 when they did that, when they did a lot of that. It could have been 2006, but what the point being is that VMware became the powerhouse it was in the late 90s through its patent. From there, they started escalating. They started picking up little companies here and there that had specific technologies with how to run virtualization, which really allowed them to gain their ground. Now, in '07 and '08, VMware yet again then released even more. They released VMware Hypervisor to the world for free. So now we had free ESXi. Not only did we have, all this virtualization technology that companies were paying for, we now had it to the access to us home labbers. Those that wanted to increase our knowledge and learn more, we now could go download ESXi for free, run in evaluation mode for 60 days, get all the benefits, learn all the cool stuff, vMotion, vSAN, vNetworks, we get to learn it all. And then after those 60 days, it goes bye-bye, and guess what? Our VMs still run. That is what's magnificent about ESXi, is that we get to learn all that, and VMware has made it free for us. Now, going on, if you notice, we keep going forward and forward, bringing us up to modern times now. I don't know how many of you noticed, but we actually got away from VMware vSphere. Now, from about, I'd say '06 to about 2 years ago, 2015, 2016, we didn't even think about using a web-based client for VMware. It was all done through vSphere. Well, nowadays, guess what? 6.5 and beyond, it's all going web GUI based. Everything's going to be HTML5, Flash. It's all done inside of a browser. And the reason being is that this just makes it more lightweight. There's nothing to install on these systems. There's nothing to run on these systems. Now, there is if you're wanting vCenter. That's its own separate system, and that's a whole nother video. But the point being is that where we are now today with virtualization, all started back in the 1960s. It all started with IBM, Cambridge Scientific Center, and them wanting to learn how to split up a mainframe and be able to utilize it fully. It's the same thing we do nowadays. We get these big hosts, all of this power, and what do we want to do with it? We want to use every ounce of it. We don't want to let it sit. We don't want to have something sit off the side running 10% on a host. Well, no, we want to put that host at 90%. We want it running as hard as it can because you know what, it's fun, and we want to break stuff because that's what we do in labs. So, going back, letting everything now cool off, just want to bring it to a wrap. That's what virtualization is. That's where it came from. That's where we started at, and that's where we are now. So follow some of my other links. I've got plenty on how to install ESXi, both 6.0 and 6.5. I've got some videos on FreeNAS. I've even got videos going over my rack and what I do. Click subscribe and like down below if you guys like the video. If not, let me know why. Go ahead and click dislike. Give me a comment down below. What are things I need to work on? What are things I got wrong? What's some things I didn't understand? I'm always trying to improve my knowledge. But as always, guys, I'll see you in the lab.